Welcome back to Raymond Lee Jewelers web series. I'm Liz, and today I'll be sharing some guidelines for how to sell your gold, jewelry, and watches. Now, we've gone in depth before about how to sell a luxury watch and how to sell a diamond, but today I'll just be sharing some general tips. If you're a regular watcher of our web series, then you'll already know what my first tip will be, and that is to do your research. Research includes looking up the purity content for gold, finding out if it's 14 karat, 22 karat, what have you. It means finding the model number, serial number, and age for your luxury watch. And it means finding out the specs on your diamond, the color, cut, clarity, and carat weight, as well as looking for any certificates you might have that came with the diamond. Research is important because without doing it, you won't know what you have, you won't be able to set reasonable expectations for how much you're hoping to receive for your piece, and buyers won't be able to give you a range or even an estimate. The research part of the process might not always be the easiest, especially if you've just inherited a large estate or you're dealing with an especially old antique vintage watch that you might not have that much information on. But if you do this little bit of homework ahead of time, it'll make your selling process that much easier, and it'll help you get the highest offer for your piece. The next step is gathering your materials. For gold, this is easy. You'll just want to separate it by gold purity, so you'll put 14 karat with like and 22 karat with like. You can put it into plastic baggies, you can separate it into shoe boxes. It doesn't really matter, but it makes selling it that much easier, and it ensures that you know exactly which pieces are which gold content so that you're making sure that you're not getting 14 karat prices for your 22 karat pieces. For watches and jewelry, try and find your box and papers. Even if it means digging through your closet to find that watch box you put up on a shelf 5 years ago, it's worth it. A box with your watch could mean an extra $500 on your offer. When it comes to diamonds, certificate is very important. GIA stones are that much more valuable because of the consistency of the grading, so a GIA certificate means that more buyers are going to be more aggressive about buying your diamond. Also, in the case of GIA certificates, it means that your research process for finding a buyer will be a lot easier. In some instances, you can call or email the buyer and just let them know your GIA certificate number, and they can look it up and give you a range before they even see the stone. This isn't always the case, but if it is, it'll save you a lot of legwork and time. Once you know exactly what you have, you can start looking for buyers. It's important to find a reputable buyer because those are the ones who are going to make you the highest offer for your piece. When you're looking for a buyer, you want to start researching the age of the establishment. The longer they've been in business, that means the more experience they have, first of all, but the more happy customers they have. A good place to start is on Yelp and Google so that you can see what other customers are saying about that buyer. You also want to check out if they have a brick and mortar store. You want to see on their website if they have any customer service policies or if there's a live person who's ready and willing to talk with you and answer any questions you might have. Once you've found a few places, we recommend that you start looking locally. See how much buyers in your area are willing to pay, and then start reaching out to larger buyers who work nationally, like we do. We do a ton of business all across the US, and a lot of our inquiries come via email. Now, there are certain ways to ensure that you get a worthwhile range through email before you send your product off or before you make a trip into the store. The easiest, of course, is by being super descriptive in your inquiry. That means including the model number that you found, including whether you have box and papers, any certificates you might have, and your gold's purity. That way we can give you a prompt answer and hopefully a range. It also helps sometimes if you add pictures of your product to attach to the email. The pictures should be clean, clear, and in focus in a bright location. Save your Instagram filters. We need to see the product to be able to even estimate if we can give you a range. Of course, even with pictures that are professionally shot and even with model numbers, sometimes we do just need to see the product before we can be certain about an official offer. The next tip is to be realistic. Now, I'm not suggesting that you completely abandon your hopes of how much you'd like to receive for your piece, and I'm certainly not trying to devalue your piece, but you need to be aware that you're not going to receive full retail for your jewelry, watch, or diamonds. Buyers are businesses too. We have to bear in mind the market available for your piece, what customers would be interested in it, and how much they would pay to determine our official offer. The market for our buying customers determines how much we can pay for your product. If Raymond Lee Jewelers ever thinks that we won't be the most aggressive buyer of your piece, we'll suggest that you shop it around elsewhere first. When it comes to gold, things are a little bit more straightforward. We'll always pay a percentage of that day's gold price based on the purity of your gold. The daily price of gold is reflective of 24 karat gold. So if you have an ounce of 18 karat, just be aware that you're not going to get the full 1600, 1700, whatever the daily price of gold is for your piece. The bottom line is to be realistic about how much you're hoping your piece will fetch. But if you found a reputable buyer and you know what you're selling, chances are you'll be able to get a fair and hopefully aggressive offer on your gold, jewelry, or watch. If you ever have any questions, you can always email Raymond Lee Jewelers or just give us a call. Even if you don't end up selling to us, we're more than happy to talk to you about your product and what you can expect to sell it for.